February 19th, 1942. What kind of country locks its own citizens behind barbed wire, points rifles at their families, and then asks their sons to die for its flag? After the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, fear spread across America faster than truth. Rumors became policy, suspicion became law. And on February 19, 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066. That single order changed the lives of more than 120,000 people of Japanese ancestry, most of them American citizens. Families living peacefully on the West Coast were suddenly told to leave everything behind. Farmers abandoned land they had worked for decades. Shop owners sold businesses for pennies. Mothers packed clothing into suitcases while children carried toys they would never see again. Some had less than a week to disappear from their own neighborhoods. They were first sent to temporary assembly centers, many built at racetracks and fairgrounds. Entire families slept in horse stalls still stained and smelling of manure. Then trains carried them under guard to remote camps surrounded by fences, guard towers, and armed soldiers. Places like Manzanar, Tule Lake, Hart Mountain, and Minidoka became cities of dust, wind, cold barracks, and endless humiliation. Searchlights swept the darkness each night. Elderly men stood in food lines after spending lifetimes building honest businesses. Children asked why they were prisoners in the only country they knew. Some never got an answer. Yet while these families lived under watch, another message came from Washington. America needed soldiers. In 1943, the U.S. Army created the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, made mostly of Japanese-American volunteers from Hawaii and from the camps themselves. Imagine hearing that request while your mother still lived behind barbed wire. Fight for freedoms denied to your own family. Many were angry. Many were heartbroken. Yet thousands still stepped forward. Their motto became, "Go for broke," meaning risk everything. And that is exactly what they did. Before the 402nd reached Europe, the 100th Infantry Battalion from Hawaii had already entered battle in Italy in September 1943. They were thrown into brutal combat near Salerno, where German artillery ripped through. Hillsides and machine guns swept the roads. Men dragged bleeding friends through mud while shells burst so close that dirt covered the wounded like fresh graves. Casualties were so severe they became known as the Purple Heart Battalion. In June 1944, the 442nd joined them in Italy. They fought through mountain villages, vineyards, and rocky ridges where every corner could hide death. At Belvedere, they climbed steep slopes under constant fire. Trees shattered above them, stone walls exploded beside them, and medics ran into open gunfire to save strangers screaming for help. Every yard forward cost blood. Then came one of the most terrifying battles of their war, the rescue of the lost battalion in the Vosges Mountains of France. In October 1944, a Texas battalion became trapped deep in forested hills by German forces. Food was gone. Ammunition was low. Wounded men lay in foxholes listening to enemy voices closing in through the fog. Several rescue attempts had failed. The 442nd was ordered to break through. From October 26 to October 30th, they attacked through freezing woods where visibility was poor, and death could come from any tree. Machine guns fired from hidden nests. Mortars blasted holes into the earth. Bodies lay among wet leaves and broken branches. Men charged uphill, fell, rose again, and kept moving. Some reached German lines with only grenades left. Others died inches from their friends. When they finally broke through and rescued the trapped Texans, the victory came at a terrible price. Hundreds of Japanese-American soldiers had been killed or wounded saving men they had never met, while many of their own parents remained prisoners back home. In spring 1945, they faced another nightmare, the Gothic Line in Italy. German forces held powerful mountain defenses protected by mines, bunkers, and overlapping machine gun fire. Allied troops expected a deadly frontal assault, but the 442nd was ordered to do the impossible. On the night of April 5, 1945, they climbed near vertical cliffs in darkness, carrying rifles on their backs and using bare hands to grip the rock. One slip meant falling into blackness below. At dawn, they appeared behind enemy positions where no one believed soldiers could climb. Shocked German defenders were overrun and the line was broken. It became one of the boldest attacks of the campaign. Individual acts of courage were everywhere. Daniel Inouye, later a U.S. senator, charged enemy bunkers in Italy on April 21, 1945. Even after a grenade nearly destroyed his right arm, He kept fighting until the position was captured. Many others performed the same kind of heroism with no cameras nearby and no headlines waiting. Some returned with missing limbs. Some returned unable to sleep through the night. Many never returned at all. And when survivors came home, they did not always find gratitude. Some found racist signs still hanging. Some found their farms stolen, their homes occupied, and their savings gone forever. Parents who had lost sons opened condolence telegrams inside internment camps. Mothers cried for boys buried in Europe while still living behind fences in America. By the end of the war, the 100th Infantry Battalion and 442nd Regimental Combat Team became one of the most decorated units for its size and time in service in U.S. military history. They earned thousands of awards, including over 9,000 Purple Hearts, multiple Presidential Unit citations, and later many Medals of Honor. Decades later, on August 10, 1988, President Ronald Reagan signed the Civil Liberties Act, formally apologizing for the internment and admitting it was caused by racial prejudice, wartime hysteria, and failed leadership. But apologies cannot raise the dead. They cannot restore lost years or return children to the homes they were forced to leave. This story remains one of the sharpest contradictions in American history. A nation imprisoned innocent citizens, then relied on their courage to help save the world from tyranny. So when people speak of loyalty, who truly proved it? The government that built the camps, or the young men who walked out from behind barbed wire and into machine gun fire?